The forest was eerily still that morning, the kind of quiet that seemed to hush every whisper of life. Officer Daniel adjusted his hat, his boots scuffing softly over a carpet of fallen leaves. At his side trotted Max, his trusty German shepherd, whose keen senses could pick up trouble long before Daniel ever would. For years they'd patrolled this trail without incident, just another day on the job. But today, something felt off. The air hung heavy, almost oppressive, as if the trees themselves were guarding a secret. Max suddenly slowed, his ears perked, nose twitching close to the earth. Daniel's brow furrowed, catching the change in his partner's demeanor. Usually steady and alert, Max now stiffened, his body taut. A deep growl rumbled from his chest as he fixated on something in the distance. Daniel's eyes followed, landing on a towering oak, its ancient trunk standing like a sentinel in the woods. At first it looked like any other tree, but Max wouldn't budge, his fur bristling. Daniel's hand drifted to his utility belt, though no danger was in sight. The forest seemed to close in, shadows dancing across the bark. He'd learned to trust Max's instincts, and right now they were screaming that something was deeply wrong. Max's growl escalated into sharp, urgent barks that cut through the silent woods, reverberating like a warning bell. His paws clawed at the dirt, straining toward the oak with fierce determination. Daniel gripped the leash tightly, trying to hold him back, but Max was relentless, his barks laced with a desperate edge. "Easy, buddy," Daniel murmured, though his own voice wavered with unease. He stepped closer, scanning the tree's rugged surface. Then he saw it. A grotesque bulge swelling from the trunk, unnatural and distorted, like a wound the tree couldn't conceal. Dark, viscous sap seeped from its cracks, trickling down to the roots below. The liquid caught the faint sunlight, but its hue was wrong. Too black, too thick, almost like blood. Daniel's stomach churned as he knelt to examine it, the weight of his knife suddenly heavy on his belt. Max's barks grew more frantic, his body rigid with urgency. Daniel's heart raced. He'd seen odd things on patrols before, but nothing like this. This tree wasn't just sick, it was hiding something, and Max was demanding it be exposed. Wiping sweat from his forehead, Daniel gripped his knife, his fingers trembling slightly. Max's barks had shifted to low, guttural growls, each one pulsing with insistence. Taking a deep breath, Daniel pressed the blade against the swollen lump. The bark gave way too easily, soft and yielding, almost like flesh. He hesitated, a chill crawling up his spine as he glanced at the empty forest around him. This didn't feel right, but Max's relentless growling urged him on. With a quick, decisive cut, he sliced into the bulge. The sound was sickening, a wet, ripping noise that made his skin crawl. Dark fluid poured out, cascading down the trunk like a wound bleeding out, staining the earth below. Daniel staggered back, eyes wide with shock. Trees didn't bleed like this. His chest tightened as his instincts screamed that this was no natural phenomenon. Then, something moved inside the lump, a faint quiver as if something living had been trapped within. Max lunged, barking furiously, and Daniel had to yank him back. Heart pounding, he widened the cut, and there, buried in the ooze, was something that didn't belong. A glint of something unnatural, something man-made. His breath hitched. Whatever was hidden here wasn't part of the forest, and uncovering it might unravel everything. Daniel's knife scraped against the object, producing a sharp metallic clang that echoed through the woods. He froze, his pulse thundering in his ears. Max went wild, clawing at the ground as if desperate to unearth it himself. Steadying his shaking hands, Daniel carved away more bark, revealing a battered metal container lodged deep within the tree's swollen core. It looked ancient, weathered by time, yet it gleamed faintly beneath the sticky sap. "What the hell is this?" he whispered, his voice unsteady. He tugged at the object, prying it free with a grotesque squelch. The container was heavier than expected, coated in dark resin. Wiping it with his sleeve, Daniel uncovered faded etchings, numbers, a date, and the military emblem. His heart sank. This wasn't some random debris. It was evidence of something far bigger. Before he could process it, the container cracked open slightly, releasing a putrid stench of rot. Inside, he glimpsed tattered fabric, stained and worn. This wasn't just metal, it was hiding something darker, something that should never have been concealed here. Daniel stumbled back, nearly dropping it, while Max growled low, his eyes locked on the tree as if standing guard against the secrets it had just surrendered. Forcing himself to stay calm, Daniel pried the container open further. The smell was overwhelming, thick and suffocating. As the resin flaked away, he saw scraps of cloth and brittle strands that looked disturbingly like hair. His stomach dropped. This wasn't just a box, it was a crude tomb. Someone had hidden human remains inside this tree. The world seemed to tilt, and all he could hear was Max's urgent barking, urging caution. Kneeling in the dirt, Daniel gently lifted a piece of fabric, its once vibrant color now dulled by time. Sewn into it was a patch, a faded military insignia. His chest tightened as the realization hit. These were the bones of a soldier, someone who'd vanished long ago, never accounted for. Suddenly, Max's relentless behavior made sense. This wasn't random. It was destiny uncovering a buried truth. The weight of history pressed down on Daniel, anger and sorrow battling within him. Who could have done this? Why hide a hero here, stripped of honor? The forest no longer felt silent. It seemed to hum with the grief of the forgotten. Staring into the hollowed tree, Daniel knew one thing for certain. This discovery was only the beginning. The forest's secrets couldn't stay buried. Daniel stood by the hollowed oak, his uniform streaked with dirt and sweat, while Max stayed close, eyes fixed on his partner with unwavering loyalty. Word of the find spread like wildfire. Soon, the clearing was filled with officers, townspeople, and local journalists, their whispers buzzing through the air. The remains were carefully extracted, draped in a flag as a gesture of respect. For the first time in decades, the soldier would be honored. Daniel addressed the crowd, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. This man was lost, hidden where no one could find him. But Max sensed it. He brought us here, and now we can restore this hero's dignity. His eyes glistened as he glanced at his canine partner, whose tail wagged slowly as if grasping the moment's weight. The crowd fell silent, heads bowed in respect. That night, a vigil was held in the town square, candles glowing against the dark, illuminating tear-streaked faces. For Daniel, this wasn't just about solving a mystery, it was about mending a wound long ignored. With Max by his side, he realized that some truths aren't found by chance, but through instinct, loyalty, and a bond that refuses to let the past stay buried.